Alrighty then, so, as is often the case, I was up at 3:30 in the morning. Story of my life. So, get up and take the thyroid medicine. It's a trick I learned from a fellow low thyroid person, that if you happen to be up during the night, after midnight, go ahead and take it so then you don't have to wait around at breakfast time, because that's always kind of one of those odious things. Technically you're supposed to take it at 6 a.m., but if I'm up before that, I'll take it before that, because then I can have breakfast at the breakfast hour, whenever that falls. Anyways, I don't know if this is technically a product placement or not, because I'm actually going to put the link in the video description. It's for a book that I picked up. It's my Amazon affiliate link, and if anybody buys the book through it, I make a few pennies, literally a few pennies. I'm gonna get rich. Anyhow, no, I actually picked the book up on Thrift Books, so you're not gonna see my review of it on Amazon, because I can't review it there since I didn't buy it there. The name of the book is Stupid, Sloppy, Sleazy. It's the story of Outskirts Press, which I was one of the victims of back in the early 2000s. It's by Michael and Marcus. I'm giving it a 5-star review for what it's worth here on my channel, where I have millions of followers because I am such a famous influencer. So, 5-star review. Um, you can only get it in paperback, just so as you know that, and you can get it through the Amazon link I'm going to provide, or you can go look for it on Thrift Books or Better World Books or Abe Books or whatever you use for your used books. Anyway, so back in the early, mid mid aughts, I guess, it's 2007 when I had this unfortunate book published. I am not going to give the pen name I published it under. I am not going to give the name of the book. I imagine there are still some copies of it floating around out there. Sorry, I'm not going to make it easy for you. It's something that should never have existed in the form it was in, and I should never have gone the route that I did. The thing was, it was not as easy to self-publish back then. So, Outskirts Press, they put themselves out there as a publish-on-demand publisher. As the author of the book points out, they are not a pod publisher, they're a vanity publisher, and I didn't really understand about all that. I just wanted to get the book published. I felt like, it was a fictional story, but I had certain elements included that I thought were important to get out there, and it included the story about something that I felt was a real injustice of a kind, and so I was kind of on a mission. Um, I am not a vain person, so the idea, I mean, shit, I used a vanity publisher. And then also, of course, I felt stupid having allowed myself to be taken advantage of to the tunes of thousands of dollars. Um, One of the things you're gonna want to look for, if there's this this kind of publisher is still out there. I think they're kind of in a different form, but one of the things you want to look out for is the um, type of editing you're getting and the cost. Because I did not know the difference at the time. Um, there was absolutely no developmental editing component to their editing whatsoever. But I didn't know that. I didn't know what the difference was. So basically, what they did was copy editing, and then I would go back over the proofs and I'd find things like, well, shoot, this don't look right. I want to change it. So there's another big chunk of change to get that changed, because every time you send it through one of their editors, you'd you'd pay again, and I forget what the exact cost was, but it wasn't cheap. And so, anyways, I'm out thousands of dollars for a book that's never going to be promoted. I didn't know anything about promoting. I still don't know anything about promoting, and I take these webinars all the time about it. I don't know. I'm hopeless with that kind of thing. But, anyways, these people weren't going to help me. Shoot. And I had to pay a yearly fee for them to keep my um, web page up there, and um, I actually quit writing for quite some time after this experience, because also this experience attracted certainly not a huge audience, but something of an audience, and just ended up making me not not look so good, because my approach was very naive to the subject, and I actually ended up receiving a few death threats and a few other kind of unsavory things. Just anyway, so I'm just like, shit. I don't think I'm destined to be a writer, so I just stopped doing that. I had a blog, write these goofy little fake news stories and stuff. Not like fake news like you think of now, but comedy news. I made up these characters, and there's this interstellar traveling heavy metal band and stuff, and so I make up little scandals about them. And every year there'd be a awards ceremony, and anyways, so that was fun, and I miss that. I miss those little stories, but um, I eventually, it was in 2012 that I had started um, deciding, well, maybe I'll try writing again a little. I wasn't ever going to try to do it professionally. It wasn't until, I don't know, 2017 or 18 that I think it was after my health started kind of, excuse me, must dab the postnasal drip. My my health took a really bad turn, because I had been working in medical before that. My background is in nursing, and for about 25 years cumulative, I worked with the elderly population, a lot of people with dementia, but that had started hitting kind of too close to home, having relatives and other people I cared about on a personal level developing dementia of various kinds. My father had vascular dementia rather than something like Alzheimer's. But so I kind of wanted to get out of that field, and I got recruited by this home care agency for pediatric patients with special needs, medical or developmental, cognitive, or combination of both sometimes. And I said to them, I have never worked with kids. I've only worked with the elderly. Well, I think what went on there is the recruiters would get a certain amount for bringing in new people. So didn't really give a shit if you didn't have a background in it. So yeah, I started working with kids and working very long hours. Well, about this time, I started going from so-called pre-diabetes, and this is just my take on it. There's no such thing. You got early stage diabetes, and then you got later stage diabetes. There is no pre-diabetes. You can maybe hold things off for a while if you're one of those people who can kind of lead the perfect life and not stress your body out and not be doing things like eating on the run or eating a lot of takeout food, which if you're in something like honest to God, healthcare workers are often some of the unhealthiest people out there as far as how we don't take care of ourselves because we work long hours, we're always under a lot of stress, and yeah, so anyways, my diabetes was going in that direction. Things were not looking up with it. And, actually, there's this big stigma about using insulin, but um, my, my blood sugar readings immediately improved when I started using insulin. So, anyway, but I was not yet using insulin. Metformin, if you like pooping your pants. I don't know, I guess some people take it without. It was bad times, but yeah, my health was just not in a good place, and I was going to one of those doctors who, rather than dealing with the underlying condition, is insisting that weight loss is a cure for everything. Let me tell you a little bit about that. When you've already got an endocrine system that's a trash fire, and you've had disordered eating and you know food deprivation, whether voluntary, i.e. dieting, or involuntary, i.e. you can't afford proper amounts of food, or food with a better nutrition profile, with a good nutrition profile. It's hand to mouth and you're just grabbing what you can, which I had a lot of years up and down with that in my adulthood. Actually, early in life, we were kind of in that situation. If I never see another boiled soybean, I will be a happy camper because I hate boiled soybeans. That's pretty much what we ate because they're high in protein. They're god awful. I like edamame and I like roasted and salted soybeans. Boiled soybeans are disgusting. But anyways, so fact of the matter is, so when you already got, like I said, trash fire endocrine system, um, where the metabolism's weight cycling is gonna be a given if you get on that diet platform. So, anyways, but a lot of doctors, I went through nursing school, and basically, you're taught that larger people are all just a bunch of gluttonous shitheads who don't know what's good for them, and it's a horrible way to look at things. But you're also taught that people with addiction problems are basically stupid and have no self-control. It's bad. But so his push, this doctor, was always, well, lose weight and everything will be fine. It doesn't work like that. Diabetes hits people of all sizes, even on the American Diabetes Association website. They'll kind of reluctantly admit that being large doesn't cause diabetes. And I straight up want to kill people. And yes, I said the K word, but I'm not monetized, so what the hell ever. I am not kindly disposed. There's another K word. Not kindly disposed to people who make, oh, I just had this big old latte with the whipped cream and the sprinkles on top with a donut, and boy, howdy, now I'm going to get diabetes. No, fool, you are not. That's not how diabetes works. Diabetes, it's one kind of person and one kind of person only. The kind of person who has genetic vulnerability for it. And that's both types of diabetes. I have type 2, which is what happens for a lot of older adults, as we'll end up with that. And people of all sizes end up with it. So, there you go. Anyways, type 1 is an autoimmune disease where the pancreas gets destroyed. The mechanism for type 2 is a bit different, but you eventually end up in the same place with either one. Um, at least for me, don't tend to get the kind of big bottom drops out type of blood sugar thing, where type 1 tends to get that more often. I've only had it a couple of times, and it was my fault because I hadn't, I compensated for. If you want to spike your blood sugar real quick, you drink your carbs, which is why I don't drink soda, and that makes me a saint who's better than you. I hate that attitude too. But no, that I had grabbed a frappuccino when I was on the way to a medical appointment and didn't take into account the fact that you gotta have some protein with something like that, even if you do comp for it with the carbs with insulin. You still gotta have some kind of protein, or you're gonna even if you don't get like a really super high spike, you're still going to bottom out. But anyways, I'm sure not everyone watching this is diabetic, so they're like, yeah, go on with you. You were talking about, you started this talking about being taken advantage of by Outskirts Press. So yeah, read that book that I'm going to put a link for in the description, or think about reading it. Also, be very careful with who you have help you publish your book, um, and whatever else, especially if you're kind of really new to the scene. I had been basically I'd been writing all my life, but I had never published anything. I had no idea what I was doing. I've learned a lot in recent years about self-publishing and having my own imprint and stuff. I haven't really been able to take advantage of kicking any of that into gear yet, but I'm gonna give it a try. Yeah, mostly I just wanted to talk about this book, and that it's worthwhile to look at, and kind of just give a little bit of a warning out there, things not to do. Don't do what I did, and obviously go off on 50 different tangents, which yeah, say hi to ADHD. This is the only brain I've got, people. I don't, you know, story for another time, but I've been misdiagnosed with all kinds of things. The main thing I believed for years was that I had type 2 bipolar disorder, which I found out through not being able to afford lithium that I didn't have that. There there are certain things with ADHD, ADHD, whatever, um, you know, that are kind of in common with some of the symptoms of something like type 2 bipolar, but it's not coming from the same place. So, I am not a medical professional other than having been a nurse. I can't diagnose you with anything. I'm just going to be here and talk about me, and of course, that's a subject everybody just loves to hear about. I hope people know that I'm kidding when I say stuff like that. It's a funny thing, when I was in school, I had people thinking like I was all stuck on myself and stuff, and fuck no, I'm shy. I um I had to get really wasted before I would start kind of coming out of the shell. Um, Only reason can do it now is I'm talking to dark room and my camera, and whatever the hell spirits are hanging around. We live in a really old house, so might be some. I don't know. But yeah, that's the only reason I can do that. I reckon probably I better wrap this up. I don't even know how long I've been blathering on with it, but for what it's worth, maybe it's entertaining somebody. I don't know. I hope it helps somebody somehow, even if just to know you're not alone in being different. You know. All right. Peace. Let's see. I can do it better with the left hand than the right hand. So yeah, there. Little salute to Mr. Spock. All right. I will speak at a later date. Bye for now.